is why I'm being singled out." Captain Mitchell's voice remained calm, but something cold entered his eyes. "Sir, I'm going to need you to lower your voice." "My voice is perfectly reasonable, and I'm telling you it's not. This is my aircraft, and I make the final decisions about who flies and who doesn't." He paused, letting the weight of his authority settle. "Now, you can either cooperate with our verification process, or you can be removed from this flight. Your choice." What started as a routine boarding was about to become something much bigger. The live stream viewer count hit 2,400. And neither Marcus nor the crew had any idea what was coming next. If you're enjoying this story, stay tuned. The moment of truth is approaching, and it's going to shake everything they thought they knew. Marcus could feel every eye in first class on him, judging, measuring, deciding what kind of person he was based on incomplete information, just like the crew had. "I'll cooperate," Marcus said finally, "but I want this on record. Your staff initiated this based on profiling, not any legitimate security concern." "Noted." Captain Mitchell's tone suggested nothing was actually being noted. "Jennifer, escort the passenger to the gate area while we conduct verification." "I'm not leaving the aircraft," Marcus said. "You can verify whatever you need while I remain in my seat." The captain's jaw tightened. "That's not how—" A sharp beep cut through the tension. David pulled out a tablet from the galley station, his brow furrowing as he read something on the screen. His face went pale. "Captain, we have a system alert." Mitchell turned. "What kind of alert?" "Pre-departure security scan flagged a payment authorization mismatch on a first-class ticket." David's eyes flicked toward Marcus, then away. "Passenger payment method doesn't match the booking confirmation code in our database." The words fell like stones into still water, ripples of implication spreading outward. Jennifer's face lit with vindication. "I knew something was wrong." The pearl necklace woman gasped softly. The businessman set down his newspaper completely, fully invested now, and the live stream was exploding. Viewer count, 4,800. Comments, "Called it. Tickets fake. This man is about to get arrested. Wait, no, payment mismatches happen all the time. In first class, though? The way they're treating him is still wrong." Captain Mitchell's expression hardened into something resembling concrete. "Sir, you need to come with me. Now." "A payment mismatch doesn't mean fraud," Marcus said, his voice still level despite the fury building inside him. "It means your system has a processing error. I paid for this ticket legitimately." "Then you'll have no problem proving that." The captain gestured toward the galley. "This way." "I'm not moving until you explain what specific irregularity you're seeing. The booking code indicates corporate payment, but the passenger name is individual. That triggers fraud protocols." David read from his tablet like he was reciting scripture. "When this happens, we're required to verify the passenger's financial capability to purchase first-class fare." The words landed like a slap. Financial capability. Translation: "Are you rich enough to be here?" Marcus felt something shift inside him. The anger crystallized into something colder, harder. He'd been patient, he'd been reasonable, he'd followed every rule while they made up new ones just for him. Enough. "You want to verify my financial capability?" Marcus's voice was quiet, but something in it made Jennifer take an involuntary step back. "Fine. Let's verify." He pulled his phone back from David's hand, not aggressively, but firmly enough that David didn't resist, and opened his mobile banking app. The screen loaded. Marcus turned it toward the captain. The account balance showed 8 digits, comfortably, but Captain Mitchell barely glanced at it. "Banking apps can be spoofed. I need to see the actual credit card used for purchase and a government-issued ID." "You're moving the goalposts," Marcus said. "I'm following protocol." "You're making up protocol as you go." Marcus felt his pulse in his temples. "No one else has been asked for their credit card." No one else has had to prove they're rich enough to sit in these seats. No one else triggered a security alert? Jennifer interjected, her voice sharp with defensive righteousness. Because your system has a processing error. Or because your ticket isn't legitimate. She was louder now, feeding off the captain's authority. You show up looking like you can't afford a bus ticket, let alone first class, and expect us to just take your word that everything's fine? The cabin erupted. Excuse me? The live streamer said, her voice rising. Did you actually just say that? This is insane, someone else muttered. But the businessman in the expensive suit leaned back in his seat, arms crossed, a smirk playing at his lips. Maybe we should just let the crew do their job. They're trying to keep us safe. Safe from what? Another passenger challenged. A black man in a hoodie. The man's smirk widened. From people who don't belong in first class. The live stream comment section ignited like gasoline meeting flame. Viewer count, 8,200. Marcus closed his eyes briefly, breathed. When he opened them, his expression was calm again, but underneath, he was done playing. You want proof of payment? He opened a different app on his phone. Fine. The screen displayed a corporate expense management system, the kind used by major enterprises for executive travel. The logo at the top was distinctive, a stylized globe with orbital rings, colors sharp and professional. Marcus navigated to his recent transactions, pulling up the ticket purchase. Corporate American Express card, company authorization code, full fare paid 3 weeks ago. He held the screen toward Captain Mitchell. The captain studied it, his expression unreadable. This is a corporate booking? Yes, through my company's travel system. Then why is the passenger name individual and not corporate? Because I'm the passenger. The company pays, but I fly. That's how corporate travel works. David leaned in to look at the screen, and his eyes caught on something. The logo, the interface. His face went white. Sir, what company do you work for? Marcus's smile was thin. Why does that matter? That system interface. David's voice had lost its certainty. That's not a standard corporate travel platform. No, Marcus agreed. It's not. The live streamer had zoomed in on Marcus's phone screen, and her viewers were faster than the flight crew. Comments. Wait, I recognize that logo. That's Titanium Corp's executive management system. My uncle works there, only C-Suite has access to that portal. Oh, sht. This man isn't poor, he's rich. The turntables. Jennifer was still oblivious, her indignation undiminished. I don't care what app you have, you still need to provide the physical credit card used for purchase. Jennifer, David said quietly. Stop talking. I will not. Jennifer, stop. Something in David's tone cut through her righteousness. She looked at him, confused. Captain Mitchell's eyes were still on Marcus's phone screen, specifically on the name displayed at the top of the app. Marcus Hayes, Chief Executive Officer. The words might as well have been written in fire. The captain's face did something complicated. Shock, disbelief, and the dawning horror of recognition all fighting for dominance. You're... He couldn't seem to finish the sentence. Marcus Hayes, Marcus said calmly. CEO of Titanium Corporation. The reason your airline's payment system flagged my ticket is because it was purchased with a corporate card under my company's master account, but booked under my personal name for the loyalty program miles. It's a standard practice for executive travel. Your system just isn't sophisticated enough to recognize the authorization pattern. The silence that followed was absolute. David had gone from pale to gray. Jennifer looked between Marcus and the captain, her mind clearly scrambling to catch up. Titanium Corporation, the businessman in the expensive suit said slowly, his smirk gone. The Titanium Corporation? The tech conglomerate? That's the one, Marcus said, his eyes never leaving the captain. You're the CEO? The businessman's voice had climbed an octave. Last time I checked. The pearl necklace woman made a small sound, something between a gasp and a laugh, the kind that comes when the universe reveals an irony too perfect to be believed. The live stream viewer count hit 15,000. Comments were flying faster than anyone could read. Titanium Corp CEO. Google says he's worth like 300 million. They literally harassed a CEO. His company probably has contracts with this airline Elmo. This crew is so fired. The way this turned around, I am living. Jennifer finally found her voice. I didn't know. No, Marcus cut her off. You didn't know because you didn't ask. You saw a black man in casual clothes and assumed criminal. That's the problem. Sir, I apologize if there was any misunderstanding, Captain Mitchell began, his voice losing the authoritative edge. Misunderstanding? Marcus's laugh was sharp and humorless. You threatened to have me removed from the aircraft. You demanded proof that I could afford to be here. You accused me of fraud. There's no misunderstanding. You were crystal clear about what you thought of me. We were following security protocols. You were profiling a passenger, and you know it. Marcus stood, his full height suddenly apparent. He wasn't a large man, but presence has nothing to do with size. The question is, what are you going to do about it? The captain opened his mouth, then closed it. For the first time in his career, Robert Mitchell had no idea what to say. David stepped forward. Mr. Hayes, on behalf of the crew, I want to apologize for any— I don't want your apology, Marcus said quietly. I want systemic change, because this didn't happen because of one bad flight attendant or one overzealous captain. This happened because your entire company culture allows it. He looked around the cabin. At the other passengers, some sympathetic, some embarrassed, some still skeptical. At the live streamer, her phone still recording, viewer count still climbing. At Jennifer, whose face had gone from vindicated to terrified as the implications of what she'd done became clear. How many other people have you treated this way? Marcus asked. How many passengers who weren't CEOs, who didn't have corporate apps to prove their worth, did you humiliate and remove? No one answered, because they all knew the answer. Jennifer's hands were shaking. I'll get you anything you need. Water, extra snacks, an upgrade? She caught herself. I mean, anything to make this right. You can't make this right, Marcus said. Not with snacks. The businessman had pulled out his own phone, typing rapidly, probably messaging his contacts. The story was already spreading beyond the live stream, rippling out into the social media ecosystem like a stone thrown into a pond. By morning, this would be national news. Captain Mitchell seemed to realize this at the same moment. His face went from gray to ashen. Mr. Hayes, please, if we could speak privately. Everything you need to say, you can say right here. Marcus gestured at the cabin. You had no problem publicly questioning my right to be here. Let's keep things transparent. The captain swallowed hard. I made an error in judgment. I take full responsibility. If you would still like to fly with us today, we would be honored to have you aboard. Honored, Marcus repeated. 5 minutes ago, you were threatening to have me arrested. I was misinformed. You were prejudiced. There's a difference. The live stream viewer count hit 25,000, and everyone watching knew this wasn't over. This was just the beginning. The flight departed 2 hours late. Marcus stayed in seat 2A, not because he wanted to. The last thing he wanted was to spend 6 hours in that cabin, but because leaving would look like retreat, and he was done retreating from spaces where he had every right to be. Jennifer and David had been removed from the flight before departure, replaced by a new crew that treated Marcus with the kind of exaggerated courtesy that somehow felt worse than the original discrimination. Every Mr. Hayes and, "Is there anything we can get for you, sir?" carried the weight of corporate panic. The captain remained in the cockpit. He'd sent a handwritten note of apology via the replacement flight attendant. Marcus left it unopened on his tray table. The live stream had ended when the plane took off, but the damage, or justice, depending on perspective, was already done. The video had been screen recorded, clipped, and shared thousands of times across every social media platform. By the time Marcus's flight landed, the hashtag #FirstClassWhileBlack was trending worldwide. The airline's crisis management team had already released a statement. "We are aware of an incident aboard Flight 2847 and are conducting a thorough investigation. We do not tolerate discrimination in any form and are committed to ensuring all passengers are treated with dignity and respect." The statement landed like a lead balloon. Social media tore it apart. Conducting an investigation. The whole thing was live-streamed. Do not tolerate discrimination. You literally did exactly that. Empty corporate speak. Do better. But beneath the outrage was something more specific, more focused. The conversation wasn't just about this one incident. It was about the entire structure of premium air travel, the way first-class cabins created psychological hierarchies, the way wealth became weaponized, the way appearance dictated treatment. One viral thread dissected it perfectly. Here's what's insidious about this. The crew didn't harass Marcus Hayes because they're uniquely terrible people. They did it because the entire system of luxury service is built on assumptions about who belongs in premium spaces. First class isn't just about bigger seats, it's about social sorting, and when a black man in a hoodie shows up, the cognitive dissonance is so strong that they literally cannot accept he belongs there, even when shown proof, even when he's CEO of a multi-billion-dollar company. That's how deep this runs. The thread had 400,000 likes. Titanium Corporation's PR team wanted Marcus to make a statement. He declined. Instead, he forwarded the live stream video to the airline's corporate offices with a single line. "This is what your company culture produces." Then he went back to work. But the story wouldn't let him go. By the second day, major news outlets had picked it up. CNN, NBC, Fox News, all running segments on the CEO and the first-class incident. The coverage was surprisingly consistent across political lines. This was indefensible. The airline's stock dropped 4% in morning trading. By the third day, Jennifer Morrison's full name had been leaked online. Her social media accounts, hastily set to private, were screenshotted and shared. Old posts revealed a pattern, subtle, but there. Complaints about certain passengers, jokes that aged poorly, a worldview that treated service work as performance for the worthy. The internet showed no mercy. Her phone number was doxed. Her address was shared. She received thousands of messages, ranging from disappointed criticism to violent threats. Marcus saw the reports and felt something complicated. She deserved consequences for her actions, but this, the mob justice, the personal destruction, sat uneasily with him. Captain Robert Mitchell fared somewhat better, protected by his position and the airline's legal team. But his suspension was made public. 28 years of service, countless safe flights, and he'd be remembered for this. David Chen issued a public apology video, his face haggard with stress. "I failed as a senior crew member and as a human being. I allowed assumptions to override my training and my conscience. I'm deeply sorry to Mr. Hayes and to everyone I've failed throughout my career by not being better." The apology was eloquent and seemed genuine. Social media called it performative damage control. Maybe it was both. The businessman from Seat 3D, who'd made the comment about people who don't belong in first class, found himself identified as Gerald Patterson, a mid-level pharmaceutical executive. His company, facing their own PR crisis, issued a statement distancing themselves from his views. Gerald was invited to take an indefinite personal leave to reflect on his actions. LinkedIn showed his status as open to work 2 days later. The pearl necklace woman deleted her social media entirely after someone connected her to the incident and criticized her failure to speak up. She'd been silent during the confrontation, not cruel, but complicit. The internet decided that was enough. 1 week after the incident, the airline's CEO, Catherine Rodriguez, scheduled a personal meeting with Marcus. She flew to his office rather than asking him to come to hers. The symbolism wasn't lost on anyone. Marcus's executive assistant showed Catherine into his corner office. Glass walls overlooking the city, minimalist design, the kind of space that radiated quiet power. Catherine was in her 50s, sharp-eyed and direct. She'd built her career on crisis management. But this was different. "Mr. Hayes, thank you for seeing me." Marcus gestured to a chair. "You flew 3,000 miles. Seemed rude to say no. I wanted to apologize in person. For everything." "Okay." Catherine set down her briefcase. "We've terminated Jennifer Morrison. Captain Mitchell has been permanently suspended from flight duties. David Chen will complete extensive anti-bias training before potential reinstatement to ground duties only." That's a start. We're also implementing mandatory unconscious bias training for all crew members, with quarterly refreshers. We're revising our passenger verification protocols to remove subjective judgment calls, and we're establishing an independent oversight committee for discrimination complaints. Marcus leaned back in his chair. "That's better, but it's still reactive." "What would be proactive?" "Change the culture of premium service. Stop treating first class like a social club where crew members are gatekeepers. Train your staff that they're there to serve all passengers with equal dignity, regardless of what those passengers look like or how much money they appear to have." Catherine nodded slowly. "That's more complex. Change usually is." "Will you sue?" The question was direct. Marcus appreciated that. "I haven't decided. My lawyers are preparing options, but honestly, a lawsuit just enriches lawyers and gets you a settlement you'll write off as a business expense. What I want is transformation." "Name it." Marcus leaned forward. "Partner with us. Titanium Corporation specializes in AI systems for bias detection and customer service optimization. Let us audit your entire operation, booking systems, crew training, passenger interaction protocols. We'll identify where discrimination is most likely to occur and help you redesign those touch points." Catherine blinked. "You want to help us?" "I want to fix the system that hurt me and countless others. This isn't about revenge. It's about preventing the next Marcus Hayes from being humiliated on your flights." "That's incredibly generous." "No," Marcus corrected. "It's strategic. If we can prove this model works with your airline, we can scale it across the industry. This stops being about one bad flight and becomes about systemic change." Catherine extended her hand. "Deal." They shook. The partnership was announced 3 days later. The headlines called it an unexpected alliance and from crisis to collaboration. Social media remained skeptical. "How much are they paying him to go away?" "This feels like corporate cover-up. Hope he actually makes them change and isn't just taking PR money." But some voices pushed back. "Y'all wanted consequences. This is consequences. Real change." He could have sued for millions and walked. Instead, he's trying to fix the system. That's more than most would do. The first quarter of implementation was rocky. Crew members resisted the new training, complaining about political correctness and not being able to do their jobs. Some threatened to quit. A few did. Marcus expected that. Systemic change always met resistance from those who benefited from the old system. But slowly, measurably, things shifted. The AI audit revealed troubling patterns. Passengers with ethnic-sounding names were 3.7 times more likely to be randomly selected for additional screening. Black passengers in premium cabins received, on average, 40% less proactive service than white passengers in identical seats. Crew members spent 65% more time interacting with passengers wearing business attire versus casual wear, regardless of actual ticket class. The data was damning. It was also useful. With hard numbers, the airline couldn't hide behind isolated incidents or bad apples. This was structural, built into their operations through 1,000 small biases compounded over time. The new protocols were simple but radical. Passenger verification based solely on documentation, never appearance. Standardized service timing for all premium passengers, tracked and audited. Crew evaluations, including passenger satisfaction surveys, weighted for demographic equity. Zero tolerance for prejudicial language or behavior. First offense resulted in immediate suspension and mandatory retraining. Second offense meant termination. The changes spread slowly through the airline's culture. Not everyone liked them, but the metrics started improving. Complaints about discriminatory treatment dropped 60% in the first 6 months. Passenger satisfaction scores in premium cabins increased across all demographic groups. Several crew members who'd initially resisted the training later admitted it had made them better at their jobs. "I didn't realize how many assumptions I was making," one flight attendant said in an anonymous survey. "The training helped me see passengers as individuals, not stereotypes. It actually made my work easier because I wasn't wasting energy judging who belonged somewhere." Progress. Imperfect, incomplete, but real. 8 months after the incident, Marcus had another red-eye flight. Same airline, different route. He dressed the same way he always did: comfortable jeans, a well-worn Stanford hoodie, sneakers. His duffel bag was the same battered leather one he'd carried on Flight 2847. He wasn't making a statement. This was just who he was when he traveled. At the gate, the agent greeted him with a genuine smile. "Good evening, Mr. Hayes. We're pleased to have you flying with us today." No judgment in her eyes, no skepticism, just professional courtesy. Marcus boarded the aircraft. First class, seat 2A, his usual. The flight attendant, a young man named Daniel with kind eyes and an easy manner, welcomed him aboard. "Can I hang up your jacket? Get you something to drink?" "Water would be great, thanks." "Of course. I'll be right back." Daniel didn't stare at Marcus's clothes, didn't question his presence, didn't treat him any differently than he treated the woman in the business suit across the aisle or the elderly man in khakis and a polo shirt in 3D. Just normal service. Marcus settled into his seat, watching as the rest of the passengers boarded. A teenager in a baggy hoodie and headphones walked past. Black kid, maybe 17, with nervous energy. He checked his boarding pass 3 times before finding his seat. 4A, first class, probably his first time flying premium. Daniel greeted him with the same warm professionalism he'd shown everyone. "Welcome aboard. Let me help you with that bag." The kid's shoulders relaxed. His nervous fidgeting stilled. He'd expected suspicion. He'd received welcome instead. Marcus felt something tight in his chest loosen. This was the point. Not headlines or viral videos or executive apologies. This moment, a black teenager in first class being treated like he belonged there because he did. The plane pushed back from the gate. The cabin lights dimmed. Through his window, Marcus watched the ground crew moving with practiced efficiency, sending them toward the runway. His phone buzzed. A message from his executive team. Another crisis, another decision needed. The work never stopped. But for now, at 30,000 feet, Marcus Hayes allowed himself a small smile. The system wasn't fixed. It probably never would be completely. Bias runs deep, woven into culture and assumption and fear. But it could be better, and better was worth fighting for. The teenage passenger in 4A was already asleep, headphones still on, face peaceful in a way that suggested he felt safe. That alone justified everything Marcus had been through. The humiliation, the exposure, the long months of implementation and resistance. Worth it. Daniel passed by with drinks on a tray, catching Marcus's eye. "Everything all right, sir?" Marcus nodded. "Everything's perfect." And in that moment, impossibly, it was. Real change doesn't happen in headlines. It happens in moments like these, one passenger at a time, one flight at a time. The story doesn't end here. It multiplies. Every time someone chooses dignity over assumption, that's how we transform systems, Not with rage, but with relentless, patient insistence that everyone deserves the same respect. What will you do when you see injustice happening in front of you?
You don't have to turn around. You don't have to sue me. Just keep going. I'll be right behind you. You keep walking through the shadows like you're carrying it all, never showing any weakness, never letting teardrops fall. I can see the way you're breaking underneath that quiet smile, but you don't have to face it all alone this whole damn time. You don't have to look behind. I'll be there just outside. When the world gets way too heavy, I'll be holding up your sky. You don't have to say my name, I'll still hear you in the dark. Even if you never notice, I've been with you from the start. If you stumble, if you're falling, if your light begins to fade, I'll be right there in the silence, making sure you're not afraid. You don't have to look behind. I'll be there just out of sight. When the world gets way too heavy, I'll be holding up your sky. Say my name, I'll still hear you in the dark. Even if you never notice, I've been with you from the start. I don't need to stand beside you, I don't need to be the light. If it means that you keep moving, I'll just stay here. You don't have to look behind. I'll be there just out of sight. When the world gets way too heavy, I'll be holding up your sky. You don't have to say my name, I'll still hear you in the dark. Even if you never notice, I've been with you from the start. You don't have to turn around.